Greetings and salutations, fellow gamers. Lukey P here with another episode of Let's Play Supreme Ruler Ultimate with Brazil. So you'll notice once again the date has moved on a fair bit since the end of the last episode. I think we ended it on the 10th of July or so. So we've played another kind of 4 or 5 months since then. I thought it was worth doing a recap on what's going on because A, I haven't recorded one of these episodes for a little bit, and B, I've been doing some stuff which it might be interesting for folks to know about if you're trying to watch this and learn how to play the game a little bit as well at the same time. So let's just recap on what's going on in World War II. Just because I find it interesting. So the UK is now pretty much, bar a few bits it looks like Germany haven't bothered to conquer, entirely German. Germany also declared war on Ireland, which was amusing for a little while because the Irish actually pushed Germany out of Northern Ireland, but then unsurprisingly Germany's massive military told. Over here, if we just switch to the map ownership overlay, you will see that what was once Russia is no longer Russia or the USSR. So Germany did declare war, as is common. Romania made some good gains, and Moscow around here fell without a massive battle, to be honest. Russia's capital's now over here. So we're playing the game for complete victory, not take capital, get the whole country, which is allowing Russia to carry on. What's interesting is Germany has kind of thrust southeast here to try and get to Russia's key oil fields, I think, which is reflective of a German shortage of oil. And generally its progress has slowed. I think that's a reflection of the fact that if I turn off that and put on map supply overlay, you'll see that Germany's supply and indeed Russia's supply is a bit dead here. So they're getting to the point where basically they can't really advance without improving their supplies, which is an interesting feature. Britain's capital remains over here in, I guess, what you call Indochina's area. It's ironic that the British colony of India is far smaller than what's left of the UK now. There's also some wars going on. There's fights going on here in the Middle East, so Britain's got a bit of territory and has slowly been pushing, I think it's Vichy France, out of Syria. Yep. In terms of us, trading wise, things still going really good. So Russia will regularly give us 100% or more profit on, see if we can find them, there you go, more than 100% profit on consumer goods, despite the fact that they are now a much smaller country. I don't think that's going to last for much longer because I think they're going to run out of money soon. 80% or so profit margins on oil sold to Italy. More or less 100% profit margins sold consumer goods to China, and yeah, generally it's just our trading's going well. We're also able to trade to Venezuela every now and again for pretty good margins. So that's what's going on in the world. Our economy is generally going pretty good. We are now up towards about 12 million. Or 12 billion, I should say. That is pretty good, and to be honest, we're still investing in stuff, so I'm still kind of buying in coal every so often. We're probably due a couple more million off the market actually. So I'm buying that in just to keep the coal stockpile nice and high. Industrial goods, we've got even more now. So you'll see the production cost is way higher than the market price. And what we're basically doing is every so often when we get a lot of money, we will wander over to someone like Italy, who we're on really good terms with, and say, you know, if you've got X many million, or you sell it to us below cost, and they won't right now because they haven't got much, but once they've built that up, they probably will, and that's one of the reasons we keep selling them oil as well, so they've got the oil needed to keep their economy ticking over. So that's trading, which is going pretty good. But I thought it was worthwhile talking about our military right now. So we are now up to, I'm not sure what we had last episode, but we had, I'm surprised it's only using 2. We'll wait a minute and see what happens there. I suspect that's a little gap which will shortly get filled. We've got 5 land, 4 air with another one on the way, and 2 naval. We'll probably start looking at, once these ones are finished, we'll look at buying some more naval designs. What we're doing at the moment is we're researching a lot of military style tech, and we're using that to buy whatever the best designs we can find are from around the world. So for example, if I look at what we can build here, we went to Russia for this, which is a bit pricey for a recon, but you know, it's not too bad. So it can see 29 kilometers. It's got a bit more supply oil wise, and it goes quicker than the motorcycle, and it can do 3 damage in a range of 1 kilometer. So that's a pretty nifty recon vehicle. That was the best one I could find. Tanks, we've gone for 2 models from Russia. So we got the T-35 and the T-28. Those were 2 good models during the war. We've got an anti-tank weapon from Russia as well. So you can see Russia's provided a lot of stuff, because Russia's military actually was alright. It's just they didn't have as much, and it wasn't in the right place, and it was too spread out to fight Germany, really. We haven't really gone for much more on the artillery front. We bought this from Russia again, because the range on it is 41 kilometers, so that will just help us. That, I think, was something we had from earlier, but you can see that gun's got slightly more oomph to it in terms of the damage it will do. And yeah, we can just kind of have that sit behind our front lines and, you know, smash enemies as we approach. This is a great AA gun we picked up from the UK. It does a lot of damage for this stage of the game. Don't expect it to be particularly quick though, that's the only problem. Infantry, interestingly, I haven't actually bought any infantry yet, because my plan is, at the moment, I am building a whole bunch of other units. So we've got all our tanks queued up, we've got some AAs queued up, we've got some supply trucks, we've got some guns, artillery, we've got a few anti-tank guns. And what I'm going to do at the end is infantry you want to mass produce, basically, to be the bulk of the army. A, to screen your other units, and B, to take land with. And basically I'm waiting for, you know, when I get to the point where I want to start cranking out infantry en masse, what is the best unit I can buy, or what is a reasonable unit to buy. In the past, to be honest, it's often where are we? It's often mounted infantry are alright at this stage, and you see I've bought a slightly different design from Germany. So my standard one had 654. So if you look across, that's 6 anti-personnel, 5 for tank, and 4 at close quarters. This one is 6, 4 and 6, and close quarters is handy for fighting in towns. So I'm thinking at this stage having a boost on that would be better. So that's the best one we got at the moment, but we'll probably see if we can get some more. Did similar for the Air Force. So we bought in 1 tactical bomber we bought from Germany, and a strategic bomber we bought from Russia. Shortly we will be getting fighters, interceptors rather, but I am just waiting for some of the tech stuff I've got going on to finish, and we'll see what happens first, whether I get the research and can see if there's slightly better ones I can buy, or if I finish building stuff and decide to just go with whatever model we can get at that time. So that's where we are. In terms of placements of things, I think I spoke about this briefly last episode, but basically spread them out. So I've got my naval down here. I've got some land production here, and some up here, and that's just to spread it out. So because obviously Brazil is actually a pretty big country, and so it's going to take a long time to drive from there to there potentially. Now I should say this was set up predicated on my first victim, so to speak, being Venezuela. Actually, you'll notice Venezuela and us are still on pretty good terms, because they're proving more valuable as a source of money at the moment, selling my consumer goods to, than they would be as a source of population. So their population, I mean, it's big, it's about 4 million, but at the moment the money they tend to make, I get a chunk of it through trading them consumer goods. So what I've actually started doing is I think I've switched my first victim, so to speak, to be Colombia. And actually what I'm doing is, with a bunch of countries along here, so Colombia, I am investing money in opposing their government. And I'm doing that to drive up their negative opinion of me. So you can see Bolivia, I've done the same. I'm opposing their government. Paraguay, I'm opposing their government. Uruguay, I am opposing their government. So these guys who used to be quite cordial or even friendly with me, to be honest, they weren't a great source of trading, and they haven't got much of a military, so I'm not that fussed about provoking them. Peru, I might even want to think about provoking their government. 6 million, where's there? Yeah, I think we'll put that on as well. And what that's been doing is, if I go here, so one of the key things in this game, so sorry, just in case you missed what I did there, I've gone up to the regional atlas, which is a really, really useful source of information. This rating here, Casus Belli, I think that's how it's pronounced, is basically our justification for going to war with someone. So it's not essential in this game. You can declare war on people with minimal. The problem is that that's likely to really tick off people around you. You may end up with a massive coalition against you, everyone just declaring war on you because they don't like you. So what I've done is I've invested basically in annoying these people. So you see, my war justification to Bolivia and Paraguay has gone up quite a lot, because they're direct neighbours of me and I'm now spending on opposing their governments. Uruguay also started to go up, 52% justification. Colombia isn't as high as we'd like it to be, given I would probably like it to be our first attack enemy, but it's slowly creeping up, 28%. Yeah, so that's more useful, because you'll see here some of the completely Portuguese Cape Verde apparently have 94% war justification to them, and Italian Libya. I mean, these are all just largely useless, because I can declare war on them, but they're on the other side of the world. So why would I really want to do that? It's not going to gain me anything. Yes, sorry, excuse me, just need a bit of a drink there. So that is the strategy we are pursuing at the moment. So let's just play on for another little while. We want to get our subs and send our subs up to the north. Where are we holding our? I think that's where we were sending our subs. We've got a couple up there already. Okay, I might just move our tank somewhere. So we're going to look to hit Colombia early-ish, I think. Which means we might want to think about putting a barracks on the border, actually. So we've got these there at the moment, helping build a bridge. And our next move, I think, will be to put them up there on the border with Colombia, just to start getting ready. So time ticks along. We're losing a fair chunk of money. The reason is that we are spending about 20 million a turn on construction, and we are putting a lot more into production than we're getting out. So we're spending 74 million on production. We're only getting 50 million back, and the reason for that is it's roughly balanced there going into trades, but we're actually, we're stockpiling pretty much all of our consumer goods. In fact, I may even drag that down a little bit, because our just pause it. So our consumer goods, we're not selling much abroad, because we're basically stockpiling it to sell at vastly improved profit margins. So that's not too bad an offer. We'll probably take that in the interest of future good relationships with Sweden. They've gone from being cold to us a little while ago to being cordial with us, and that's because we've been trading them oil, again at good profit margins for us. So we might as well build up another country we can potentially sell consumer goods to if Russia ceases to be. The war declared. So the UK has gone to war with a whole bunch of folks there, and I think that's probably because those are all in the German sphere. So Hungary, Romania, Finland, I didn't realise had gone Axis. I don't know why the UK had gone to war with Finland, but yeah, okay. Interesting. Sometimes this game does throw up some odd decisions. You'd think the UK would have its hands full fighting the Axis to want to declare war on Finland, but that's the way it goes. We currently have 3 unused army construction slots. What's happened there, is it? I think it's somehow thought that I want to build all those units just in the north of the country, which is a bit annoying. So what I may do is, so we wanted to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21. Well, we wanted to build a lot of those. What we might do is we may scrap everything below here. And build it more generally. So what I think might have happened there when I was building is basically when you're building, if you don't really click anywhere and you just choose building, it's just going to build it at the next available place. Okay, it's just going to build stuff at the next available place. I did choose to build some slower units up here to start with. So I clicked on that, so it's only using those 2. So you can see there's 14 pending there, and then down here I've got 3 and 0 pending, which is where I'd gone wrong. So I just want to choose those particular units again, but not anywhere in particular. So that'll do for that, and then anti-tank. That'll do. should keep the production lines busy for a while. Oh, more wars. Hello. It looks like, so basically I think Romania and, that's surprising. I don't know whether this is Britain calling in its allies, I think it might be, or whether they just joined the Axis formally and that was the trigger for that mass declaration there. But in some ways that just solidifies the war between the two spheres, which has been going on for a long time now. Consumer goods, so Turkey, we're not going to do that because that's too finely balanced. Peru, aren't Peru one of the countries we're provoking? I think they are. They are. So I don't particularly want to sell to them at cost, which is basically what they're asking for. And Turkey, I don't want to sell to you at cost on consumer goods either, but we will just, because it's sometimes useful to leech a little bit of money off of them. We'll leech a little bit of money off of them. And Turkey, we are happy to trade with you in principle, but we'd like you to actually offer a moderately sensible price. That's more like it. Okay, we've built up a little stock of consumer goods now, so let's pass them on. So they're still roughly double, despite their much reduced treasury. And that's probably because they're probably selling them at more or less double the price of their population. So they're getting good money off of it internally, or roughly balanced. So in effect, we're benefiting from the fact Russia still has a large population. Yeah, good profit margins from them. Let's see about selling them some petrol. Ace, 92% profit margin. You notice I do all this on pause. A lot of people, I think, do this while the game is in progress, which is probably why they progress through the game quicker than me. But I like to do it in a bit more measured fashion. So this is really good. So industrial goods from China, they're willing to sell us nearly 1.5 billion for 860. That's great. I mean, it's going to put our money down, but so what? We've got plenty of money these days. Germany, no, probably rather trade with Italy, I think. See if Italy are willing to offer us a sensible price on consumer goods yet. Yeah, they're getting there. I think we'll accept that offer. It's not quite the double of everyone else, but it's not far off. Okay, they've now crossed the threshold where they're willing to sell to us at below cost. So you can see there we're getting, it's not quite half price on goods, but it's probably not far off, kind of what, 30-40% off, so that's good. While we're there, let's sell them some more oil, because they need that to keep making industrial goods to sell us cheap. And let's see what's going on with Germany, because as much as it loathes me to trade with them, given they conquered the UK, they are basically the major power in the world at the moment. See about selling a little bit of oil, see what profit margin they will be willing to give. Below 50%, it's not a great deal. I may just sell them a little bit, but only because we want to maintain some good relations with them. Oh, so that's a bit better. So at lower volumes, they're willing to sell us, pay us 50% margins. About consumer goods, less than 50% margin. That's not really good enough. But if we sell a much lower value, no. Okay. let's tick on and see what let those trades all happen. So let's put our money down a fair bit, but we've then gone back up from selling stuff. Italy wants a little bit more, that's fine. Who rejected it? China rejected both, which suggests they had a little, and Italy rejected it. So let's go back and finish those trades. And this is, yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to leave Italy because in a minute they're going to have a lot more money because we're about to buy all their industrial goods off them. Let's try and sell these again. Yeah, so it's not that they don't want to trade with us. I've seen some people doing let's plays where as soon as somebody rejects an offer you assume they don't want to trade with you anymore. It's actually just that the margins they're willing to pay moved ever so slightly between goes for whatever reason, and you just have to go back to them and then was that rejected again? Oh, we're getting lots of loud noises. Tensions heighten alert levels. Well, that's surprising given I wonder if this is a prerequisite to no, it's not a prerequisite. Pearl Harbor's happened, I think. Everyone's gone to war with everyone basically, so yeah. Well, here we go. So Germany has declared war on the United States, which yeah, so that must be, I think that must be a predefined event because there is no Japan to execute Pearl Harbor. But in the real world, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor, and then in what many historians think was a complete mistake, Germany declared war on the US in support of Japan, which allowed Roosevelt, who was the president of the US, to get out of this difficult policy he had of he wanted to support the Allies, but he couldn't do so openly because his country was committed to being neutral and isolationist and staying out of wars. They basically didn't want to repeat World War One, where a lot of their population felt they lost a load of men in a European war. So yeah, so China's gone to war with Italy. That will be interesting. I wonder if it's going to make them more willing to buy oil. I think that was our second offer they rejected, which is unusual. They don't normally reject two in succession. Let's just try one more time. Yeah, I see now it's successful, and that was what? Oh, a tiny amount different from the one they rejected. Okay. What about some more consumer goods? He's come in wanting to buy stuff. Peru, that's not really amazing, so no thank you. If you want to come back with a sensible offer, we can talk. Awesome, nearly 100% profit margin in Italy, and that's because they've got a lot more money now because we just bought all their industrial goods. rejected, and that's probably again because the price moved a bit and their availability of funds moved a bit between ticks. Which does sometimes happen, and you see there it's worked fine. Not quite as good margins as before, but still pretty good. Germany continues to push into Russia. It's lucky for Russia it's so huge. They're still a pretty long way from their second capital. Yeah, that Moscow's fallen. Let's see about selling them this. 194 million. We haven't sold to Venezuela for a little bit. That's not great profit margins. Let's see if we sell them less. It's okayish. Are we provoking Argentina? I can't remember. We're not yet. I think they will probably be our last victim in South America because they're bigger. It would take a bigger military to take over that land. So that's 30 million profit on a 50 million sale. So that's about 60% profit margin, which is all right. So let's take that. So you can see, even though we did those two big trades, in the matter of a few days, I've built it back up to 12 million or 12 billion, and we've now got 4.6 million of that. So a whole bunch more. Nicaragua. Yeah, this sometimes happens. I'm never quite sure why Nicaragua thinks it's necessary to get involved in the European war. The mighty Nicaragua, who sit... Which one are they? They are in Central America. Baffling. I wonder if that's a real historical event. It may well be, because I can't think otherwise why it's happening. Oh, I should say our economy's kind of stabilised somewhat. So our inflation's now below 20% and our unemployment's back up to 2.3. That's because we're not building infrastructure so much, which are the big investments in the economy. We are spending our money on research, and we are spending our money on building defence units. So, yeah. Okay, let's let this tick along, because this episode is drawing to a close now, I think. So that's where we're at. Let's move our artillery up to send them on a long walk up north, I think. There's a barracks, let's send them there. It'll take a while to drive up there, I'd imagine. So yeah, that's where we're at. So we aren't at war yet. We're getting ready for war. We're building up the country. We'll probably build a few more land production facilities as we start ramping up for war. Once we get to the point where we decide to build our infantry up, ready to take land, we'll probably build, maybe another 2 or 3 of those. So that we can really crank them out and replace our losses as we go through the wars. And then we will start, we'll wait till some of these countries are really ticked off with us. I don't know why we've got so much war justification towards the UK. They've been a good trading partner of ours for many years. It's always a bit mystifying. But Bolivia, for example, 70% war justification. Uruguay, 69% war justification. So they've got a very low probability of attacking us, but we can attack them without too much penalties. Paraguay may try and jump us, who are here. So yeah, we may also whip some units down there, build a barracks there, and just in case they go to war, we'll send units pouring down in that direction and To be honest, we'll probably hammer them because they don't actually have a military. If you look at their army staff, 3,000, 4,000 army staff. We've got 135,000. So yeah, they won't. Them attacking us would be akin to suicide. But I've seen countries do weirder things on this game. So we will wrap this episode there. As always, any comments, get involved, do comment below the video. I'm Lukey P. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon.